Now that Vosik is out of the way, you can make your move to the top of the wall. But there doesn't really seem to be anything up here. Oh, that's a big thing behind us. Group composition is going to want to focus on a more aggressive setup than what you're typically used to using in a raid. Striker Titans are actually encouraged in this encounter, as well as Stormcaller Warlocks and Night Stalker Hunters. Having a Defender Titan using Helm of Saint 14 is also quite good here. You'll be on the move a lot and will want to take down high priority targets like Major Captains as soon as possible, so any subclass with a nuke-like super is welcome. As for weaponry, a couple of people with shotguns will be very helpful to get rid of those high priority targets, but you'll want a couple of snipers for the very beginning. The encounter starts with your team on the opposite side of the Zamboni. When things get going, you'll be dealing with an absolute ton of Siva enemies. If you have a Stormcaller, this is a great time to use Stormtrance. The play area has a lot of holes in the ground that will send you plummeting back down to earth, so be sure to avoid those. Also, the railings of the walls are electrified and will kill you very quickly. Attempting to hide underneath the Zamboni in basically any way will result in death, so don't even bother. Your team has under 1 minute, about 50 seconds, to get on top of the Zamboni before it zaps you all to death. The Zamboni will reach the wall behind you in 55 seconds. In order to gain access to the top, you'll need to shoot off both front cannons. Then, when both cannons are shot off, an orange core in the middle of them will be revealed, and you'll need to shoot that too in order to overload the Zamboni. Weapons of Light is helpful here if you're running a Defender. Only after have you overloaded the core can you jump on top of the Zamboni and take a little ride to the next phase. Be aware that the crash through the wall is very violent and can kill you if you're too far forward. After you crash through the first wall, the Zamboni will eventually crawl to a stop. When it does, head to the other side of the area to fight some Siva enemies. A Shadow Shot or a Fist of Havoc on these adds underneath the dropship makes rather quick work of them. After all of those adds are gone, 3 parts to the Zamboni will fall on the ground: a warhead, a drive shaft, and an engine block. These need to be carried back to the Zamboni before the core on the Zamboni overloads and kills you. The core will overload in about 2.5 minutes from when the items are available to pick up, so you need to be quick. There are rules to moving the parts. When you are holding a part, you are encumbered and will move very slowly, and you can only use your single jump. You'll hold your part for 10 seconds, after which you will automatically drop it and cannot pick up any other part for another 10 seconds after that. Basically, you need to trade off between yourselves to keep the parts moving forward. Not only that, but on your way back, you'll have to deal with the exploding mines that slow you down a ton, and a lot of enemies. There are multiple paths back to the Zamboni, but what you're seeing is the path that my team used during our runs. Be careful to avoid bumping into each other as much as possible, as knocking someone off to a lower level can ruin a run if there's no path back up for the part. Keep in mind that if you lose a piece entirely, it's basically a wipe. My best advice here is to make sure that if you are crossing any thin bridges, to drop the piece before you cross and have someone else take it the length of the bridge. I'd also recommend someone scouting ahead to get rid of the mines that slow you to make things go a little bit smoother. However, the scout needs to be careful because it can be quite easy to die to incoming ships. Once you've gotten close to the ship, Mexis will spawn on top of the ship itself. You need to kill Mexis in order to deploy the ramp that will come down to the ground on the right side of the Zamboni. You can jump back onto the ship in order to go kill him. Rockets and supers are great here. As soon as you kill Mexis, the ramp will come down and you can walk up. The drive shaft is the first piece that can be delivered. That'll be the first thing on your right. The warhead goes in the middle slot, which will be on your left as you walk up the middle lane from the ramp, and the engine block goes in the back left side of the Zamboni. As soon as all of the pieces are put into place, the Zamboni will start moving again and will crash through the next wall. After this, you're headed straight for a cliff. Looks like you're gonna have to jump. Fall all the way down to the bridge to complete this encounter. All in all, this is a pretty short encounter, clocking in at about 5 minutes long. Being very aggressive will prove to be beneficial. Nova Bombs and Fist of Havoc on major targets, rockets on Mexis, and anything else to keep the party going forward is more than welcome. Now that the Zamboni has fallen into the water, it's time to head deep into the core of the Siva server farm and stop the Archon Prime from continuing this madness. Click the annotation on the screen for the next guide when it's available. If you enjoyed this video, a positive rating would be greatly appreciated. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the deeps of the Siva server farm.